Thank you for being here today. I want to take care of a few thank yous right off. I first want to thank Riverside Place, Colonial Villa, and Independence Village for letting us be able to visit them this week as the chamber groups go out, and we're happy to know that some of you are here. If you want to raise your hand, say hi. Thank you for being here today. We're glad you could make it, so thank you very much. We also want to thank our donors course, our board members, Bowling Creek, Jason is here. He's always done such a great job. We're lucky to have this great facility. And of course, these wonderful musicians. This concert, they worked very, very, very hard. So thank you. So we're dedicating this concert to Maud Powell, who is a legendary American violinist. She was born in 1867 and died in 1920, and it is her 150th anniversary of her birth. So we decided to do a concert dedicated to her. She was basically praised as the most powerful force for musical advancement in America. She is the first American-born violin virtuoso that was internationally known. She is a female at a time when females weren't allowed to play. And so this is a big deal. She's a very important figure in our history. She was born in Illinois, and her townspeople would even snub her at times because she played the violin, and that was inappropriate at the time. Over time, that changed, of course. To give you a perspective of the time period, in 1876, the telephone was invented, and she was 9 years old. The phonograph, which is the cylinder recordings that we had way back, was in 1877, and the light bulb was in 1879. That's the time period that was. She had a mother, her name was Minnie. She was a piano player and composer, but she was not allowed to have the music played because she was a female. So she wanted her daughter to go out and be the pioneer and try to get music to be allowed for females to be able to perform. She practiced very hard. Maud Powell, her parents made her practice an hour before school and an hour after, which is what our musicians do every day. They practice. But it came to be, she was 13 years old and she was able to go to Europe to study. Her parents sold their home. The father stayed in Aurora, Illinois and worked, while the mother and brother and herself went over to Europe and studied, and then brought back to America classical music and traveled around the country sharing off her music. She was the first to do a violin recital. She was the first to premiere the violin concertos to Dvorak, Tchaikovsky, Sibelius. She did outreach concerts. She promoted female works and even African descent. And she founded trios and even was able to lead a male quartet, which again, at that time period was very, very rare. Many recordings are made of her. She died at 52, warming up at a concert. She had a heart attack and died with her violin in her hands. So it's kind of a sad story, but a wonderful, we're lucky to have her. One of her recordings that she did was a spiritual, Deep River, and it's a beautiful piece. You're going to hear our concert mistress was the arranger. She did the arrangement for us, but it's a piece that was arranged by Samuel Coolidge Taylor, transcribed to piano, and then later Maud recorded it on violin. And it's a beautiful piece, and it's basically a spiritual about slaves who are looking over a river, a deep river, and you'll hear the turbulence in the piece. They're looking over the river where there's freedom, just across the river, but they can't get there. again, the arranger was Susan Mercy. Please give her a round of applause. So when the Maud Powell idea was brought to me, I thought it was a great idea. It was brought to our board, and our board thought it was wonderful. So we thought it through last year and thought, well, we'll do it during March because that's Women's History Month. And then we'll focus on female composers, female soloists, and also in our foyer we ask female organizations to come here to display their information so you can learn a little bit more about them. So please check out their displays. We have Santa out there, we have the Girl Scouts, and yes, they're selling cookies, but they're holding 5 for me, so you can't have it. The American Association of University Women's, PEO International, Sigma Alpha Iota, and League of Women Voters they're all in the lobby. Please check out their displays, and thank you to them for being here to support our female concert. So in our orchestra, we have many female musicians, and we're so grateful for that because it wasn't actually until, believe it or not, 1913 that you could actually be a female and be in an orchestra that was a credible orchestra. So in America, in 1970, which really wasn't that long ago, only 5% of the musicians in an orchestra would be female musicians. And so they had to figure out a way, how are we going to change that? That's just not right. There are talented women out there. So they did what was called a blind audition. You go in when you audition, you are put behind a screen, a black curtain, and the judges sit behind it, and you come in and you perform. And that way they didn't know if you were male, female, or minority, or whatever the issue, whatever the difference was. So in 1980, we were up to 10%, which again isn't that long ago. In 1997, there was 25% of women were in orchestras. And now, as of 2014, 47% of women are in orchestras. So that's a huge change. We have a very long way to go when it comes to composers, as I'll talk to you about that later, as well as conductors. Unfortunately, out of 537 credible orchestras, only 60 are female conductors, 11%. So we have a long way to go on that, and hopefully that will change as well. So after our next piece, we're going to have a flute quintet. They are from the Sigma Alpha Iota. All of them are involved in that, and they are going to be playing a piece that's written by a local female composer, Catherine McMichael. So that would be wonderful. They just asked me if they could join us. I thought, perfect. But next, we have our Bach double concerto, and we're going to have our oboist, Jan Pickering, who is just a fabulous oboe player, plays all over the town here, and we're so grateful to her. And Cindy Michaelin, who will be playing violin, who's also, she's the one who decorates out in the hall, so she does a lot for our group, and we're very grateful to have both of them in our orchestra. So please welcome to the stage Jan Pickering and, I'm stuck here, Jan Pickering and Cindy Michaelin. Jeez, okay, thank you. round of applause for Jan Pickering, Cindy Michaelin, and the Blue Choir. Next, we'll be having our concert mistress perform the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto, the third movement, Susan Mercy, and she did our arrangement earlier. She is our concert mistress, she's our treasurer. She plays all over this community all the time. She's playing weddings, churches, gatherings, anything you want to play. She's the one. She loves music, she lives music, and I can't tell you how happy I am to have her in our orchestra. So please welcome Susan Mercy. So as you know, we wanted to feature female composers, and I really found it to be way more difficult than I thought it would be. The classical era, of course, was a time when women weren't allowed to be in orchestras or compose or do anything like that. But I thought there'd be some pieces out there, but it's very difficult to find music. It was either, if they had music, it wasn't published, and if it was published, it was very expensive to do. Nowadays, we have modern rentals that we can do, but for us, that's expensive for community orchestras. So we have what's called a lending library, where we borrow music, and in that library, there was the books about half-inch big. There were none. There were no female composers in the entire lending library. So that was kind of frustrating, but kind of an eye-opener to me. Our board members decided that that's not okay, and they wanted to support this concert. So we did spend extra money this year, and we've actually rented our next piece, and then purchased the following piece after that, so that we can put it in the lending library, and hopefully other orchestras can use it as well. When I studied music, I started in 1987 at U of M, and during that time, we studied, all the greats. They called them the greats, and I'm really ashamed to say that I didn't notice. I didn't notice that there weren't female composers. And all those years of study, all the years I played, all the concerts I played, there have been very, very few female composers, and I just wasn't aware. I didn't notice. I'm asking you, I hope that you will notice and that you'll go to concerts and to support the female composers, because it's pretty sad over the years, 300 years of music, we don't have female composers, and probably some great music that we missed out on. So please pay attention, notice, and help out with that. Our rental piece that we purchased, this lady was wonderful. Her name is Linda Robbins-Coleman, and she has been emailing me. She sent me CDs. She sent me an autographed score that I could have. She's just been wonderful, and she wrote this piece. It was commissioned for the 50th anniversary production of George Bernard Shaw's 1939 masterpiece, In Good King Charles's Golden Days. Basically, it's a comedy, and so King Charles II is with his mistresses, Isaac Newton, George Fox, who was the Quaker founder, and an artist, Godfrey Kneller, and they sit and they debate back and forth issues of nature, science, power, and leadership. So it's a fun little piece, and I think you'll enjoy it. In Good King Charles's Golden Days by Linda Robbins-Coleman. here. Please join us in the hall for refreshments after. Stay and talk to our musicians, congratulate them. They've worked very, very hard for this concert, which you'll see in a few moments. Vanilla Bean brought some cookies out there for you, and that was just a donation that they gave us yesterday. We're so happy that they could do that. And I just wanted to say that they did move. Their sign is up at their store, but they still are in existence, which is behind the Olive Garden now. So go join them. Gina's in our oboe section, and so we're grateful for the cookies, so enjoy those. Tomorrow is our Pizza Hut fundraiser. If you're interested, please come between 4 and 8 o'clock. Bring your coupons on the back of the program and support us. That money goes toward music, and it would be great to have you support that effort. On Friday, we have our second annual Chamber Ensemble Showcase. So we have different chamber groups that will be playing at Creative 360 at 7 o'clock. It's a free event. There'll be refreshments. Please join us for that. If you have a wedding or something that you need some musicians at, it'd be a great place to check us out so you can hire someone if you'd like. On May 1st is the Give Local. We are members of the Midland Community Foundation, so if you could consider thinking about us, that would be great. We are a nonprofit orchestra. It would be very helpful to us. And those of you that have already been doing Amazon Smile for us, thank you very much. Our next concert is May 6th, 3 o'clock right here. And again, thank you to Bold Creek. It's a wonderful facility. We're so grateful to be able to be here. Our last piece is in 2 movements we're going to play. It's about 22 minutes, so I hope that's not too long. It's by Amy Beach. It's a great piece of music. If you never listen to the whole piece, it's about 40 minutes long. Usually you're not allowed to clap in between movements, but since we're skipping the third, feel free to clap. It would be wonderful because it'll give us time to acknowledge some of our soloists, so that'd be great. So Amy Beach was born in 1867, and she died in 1944. She wrote this piece at a time, again, where females were not allowed in the orchestra. And I have to show you, this is the score. This is what I look at. Notes there. And Amy Beach wrote this, all these notes, all these parts, knowing that it was never going to be performed. So if you think about that, that's pretty amazing that someone, a female at that time, would have the guts to do that and just hope one day that it would be played. And it was played. The Boston Symphony played it in 1896, and over 100 years later, we're playing it again. So it's pretty awesome. Please continue to support our female. you.